Good morning all for the second lecture of mechatronics. We are going to study today um, first chapter only, but next part of that first chapter. So mechatronics is about all creative things, all designs and mechatronics will be there. We have to imply all the knowledge for betterment of the society. And this is Sachin Todkar, your mechatronics teacher. We are going to see in this lecture number 2, introduction to sensors or transducers, we can say. So what we are going to cover here. At the end of this lecture, we all should be able to understand displacement and proximity sensors, optical encoders, yes, optical encoders, etc. Okay. Now, introduction to transducers or sensor. The transducer may be defined as any device that convert the energy from one form to another form. Okay, most of the transducers either convert electrical energy into mechanical energy or convert some non-electrical physical quantities like temperature, light, pressure, force, sound into electrical signals. Why we need electrical signals? Because electrical signals are easy to, you can say, process and interpret. And that's why we are going to convert all the type of, just like displacement, temperature, light, pressure, force, everything in electrical signal, and we are going to utilize that electrical signal for the betterment of that particular machine. Maybe if temperature, a simple example, if temperature of your vehicle increases, it will give the signal to you and you can take appropriate action for that. So this is the simplest example. So if we introduce these type of transducers or sensors in your system, then that system will work very efficiently. In an electronic instrument system, the function of transducer is of two types. First thing is to detect the pressure, magnitude, and change in physical quantity being measured, and to produce a proportional electrical signal. So, what kind of mechanical motions are involved in the change in position, deformation, velocity, or acceleration? What are the physical principles used? Maybe change in capacitance, change in resistance, change in inductance, LVDT, or variable reluctance. And it has been converted into useful signal just like voltage, current, or inductance. So we are going to use this voltage, current, and inductance to get output of what is changed actually, what quantity is changed. So that we are going to see. Then what are the types of classifications of transducer? Based on methods of transaction, just like displacement, strain gauges, velocity, accelerometer, tiltmeter, viscometer, pressure, etc. Then thermoelectric, maybe thermal and electric method will be there. Magnetic resistance will be there. Electrokinetic or optical kind of things will be there. Classification based on measuring mechanism. So measuring mechanism, if it is a resistance sensing, just like we are going to see displacement transducer right now. So resistance sensing, capacitance sensing. In case of your mobiles, there is capacitance sensing is there, inductance sensing, piezoelectricity, etc. So these will be classifications. Sometimes the transducer is active, sometimes it is passive. So in case of thermocouple, thermopile, piezoelectric sensors, the active transistors are there. Active means actually there will be change in thermocouple, thermopile, or piezoelectric type. In case of passive, transducer which require external power source for their operation is called as passive transducer. They produce an output signal in the form of some variation in resistance, capacitance, or any other electrical parameter. So it can be converted into current or voltage signal afterwards. So just like capacitive sensors, in case of your mobile phones, there is capacitive touch screen is there. So if you are touching that particular touchpad, it will change the capacitance, and it requires a passive electric supply, power supply, to give the output. So that type of transducers are called as passive transducers. Analog and digital, depending on output. So if you are you might be you are using two-wheelers, four-wheelers. So previously it was a analog kind of sensor which give you the speed or velocity of your instrument or velocity of your vehicle. Now in digital system, it is giving us numerical output, which is called as a digital type of sensor or transducer. Inverse transducer, this is not in your syllabus. It is defined as a device which converts an electrical quantity into non-electrical quantity, and primary and secondary transducers. So these are some types of transducer, classification of transducer. We are going to see one by one, which are in our syllabus. First thing, that is displacement measurement. We know in mechanical systems, displacement measurement is very important. So displacement, how you are going to measure that displacement? Suppose I want to calculate diameter of any part or moment of microphone diaphragm to quantify liquid movement through the heart. So microphone diaphragm means your diaphragm in your heart system. Some types are primary transducer, resistive, inductive, resistive we are going to see in next slide. That is potentiometer we are going to see. Inductive sensors, capacitive sensors, piezoelectric sensors. These are all displacement measurement sensors. And secondary type are Wheatstone bridge. Wheatstone bridge we are going to see, and some amplifiers are we are going to see in this lecture. So what is displacement sensor, or what we are going to see this potentiometer first. By figure, with the help of figure, you can imagine that if there is a potentiometer which has been in your lab, it has been available. So potentiometer has some number of coils, and due to that total length of the particular coil, there will be one resistance in that particular potentiometer. But if you want to calculate the output here, what will happen? This pointer will be here. So what will happen? This voltage will be applied across this much length only. So due to that length, we are going to get a different resistance at that particular point. So this will be displacement, which we are going to calculate with the help of the formula. So potentiometer, next slide it will be. It consists of a resistance element with a sliding contact, which can be moved over the length of the element and connected as shown in figure. So it has been moved, it can be moved, that pointer can be moved in any direction over the total length, and it has been connected from 1 to 2 points. So we are going to calculate resistance of point 1 to 2, and it will be proportionate with this voltage. We know that resistance is proportionate to the voltage. With a constant supply voltage Fs, the output voltage V0 between terminals 1 and 2 is a fraction of input voltage, and fraction depending on the ratio of resistance between terminals 1 and 2. Because voltage is directly proportional to resistance, so we can calculate it with the help of that particular change in resistance. Now, same principle can be applied for rotary moment. This is you can say linear moment. So linear displacement I can calculate with the help of linear transducer or linear potentiometer. But I want to calculate the displacement in a rotary direction. In that case, I'm going to use same principle with the help of a rotary coil and a pointer. The same potentiometer has been converted into rotary thing, and you will get voltage output here. So this voltage output will denote you the displacement of that pointer in rotary direction. So the formulas are there that we can use for calculating output voltage. It consists of coil of wire wrapped around into a circular track. It is similar to your first linear displacement potentiometer. It is a rotary potentiometer which will have circular track, and smallest change in displacement which will give rise to change in output will help you to calculate the angle theta in that case. Okay. Now this is the specialty case LVDT. We are going to perform experiments on this LVDT. We have this setup in your lab. So what do we mean by linear variable differential transformer? It is a differential transformer. So differential transformer means these two voltage supplies will be in opposite to each other, and when there is an iron core is given and some displacement is given to this iron core, there will be change in induced voltage, and that we are going to calculate. So that's why it is called as differential transformer. So differential transformer means there will be difference in induced voltage, and that we are going to calculate in linear variable displacement also. This LVDT is very effective up to micron levels. This output of LVDT, starting at the primary or excitation side of the LVDT, we can calculate with the help of these formulas induced voltage at the secondary coils. This is secondary 1, this is secondary 2. So there will be change. The quantity M1 minus M2 changes linearly with displacement of the kernel. So there will be change in your voltage, and we can calculate this quantity M1 minus M2 with the help of the formulas, and you will get the direct reading of LVDT as output of that LVDT. Its construction is like this. This is a external rod, which is sensor. This is nickel iron core. This is primary, and this are two secondary coils. Okay, and this has been sealed in a tubular body, so there will be no external interference in that particular LVDT readings. We are going to give AC excitation to primary coil, and the output will be taken here as a differential voltage output from V secondary 1 minus V secondary 2. Okay, so this is the schematic diagram. Primary is on one side and secondary is in other side. The sensitivity can be determined by the following equation. Sensitivity is equal to output into input divided by excitation voltage into displacement. We are going to solve some numericals based on this also. So this is again a schematic diagram of LVDT. Out of 4 diagrams, you can draw any diagram in exam for this answer of LVDT. So LVDT gives AC voltage output proportional to the distance of transformer core. AC voltage output is given. The LVDT is mutual inductance device. There are 3 coils are there, mutual inductance device with 3 coils and a core. An external AC power source energizes the central coil. It energizes central coil, and 2 phase opposite end coils are used as pickup coils. So the central coil is nothing but the input coil, and two-phase opposite ends coils are used as output coils. Pickup coil is nothing but output coil. Theoretically, there is a null or zero position between two end coils. So when there is no excitation or there is no change in position, it is a zero or null position. And if there is any change in that position, that is external rod, you will get output of LVDT. Some typical characteristics are there. So it is sensitivity is 0.4 to 2 millivolt per volt into 10 to the minus 3 centimeter. So you can calculate up to 0.4 into 10 to the minus 3 centimeters. It is typically used in force, displacement, and pressure measurement. Its advantages being relatively insensitive to temperature change, because primary and secondary both are exposed to same temperature. So there will be no sensitivity to temperature. LVDT provide high output without intermediate amplification. The appreciable mass of the core is a disadvantage. So this core mass will be only the disadvantage in area of dynamic measurement. For dynamic measurement, we need a very, you can say, lightweight type of instruments, and that's why LVDT is not used in dynamic measurements. Now, the fourth part, that is RVDT. It is called as rotary variable differential transducer. It is similar to LVDT. All the things are same. Only secondary coils will be and core will be a circular type. So RVDT, a typical example has been given. Typical drawing has been given. It is similar to LVDT except core design. So it's easy to understand, and all the formulas related to LVDT will be useful in RVDT also. Now this is optical encoder. What we mean by optical encoder? It is an electromechanical device which has electric output and digital form proportional to the angular position of input shaft. So in this case, what will happen? There will be some photo sensors and photo resources will be there. One side will be photo resource and one will be photo detectors. So it enables an angular displacement to be converted directly into a digital form. Angular displacement will be given in digital coding. This is a gray encoding construction. So here is a light source. This is stationary mask, and these are photo detectors. There will be I'll just show you. There will be some slits in these particular discs. So with the help of actual displacement of these tracks, there will be encoding on other side due to photo detectors, and you will get how much displacement of that particular disk has been carried out. So this is rotating encoding disk. This rotating encoding disk will have slits in it, and with the help of matching of slits, you will get the exact value of its rotary motion. The next one, that is proximity sensor. The proximity sensor detects an object when the object approaches within the detection range and boundary of the sensor. Just like you can say, in case of any metal detector, if in case of metal detector, if you walk through that metal detector, and if you have any keys or any metal part with you, then it will detect the particular object as metal, and it will give the indication to others. So it is called as proximity sensor. In case of you might be seeing lots of the time there is in case of your mobiles, you have not touched that button, but it has been activated. So that particular is called as inductive or capacitive kind of proximity sensor. These proximity sensors are used in various facets of manufacturing for detecting the approach of metal and non-metal objects that we are going to see in detail in next slides. Okay. The optical sensors, the proximity of object is detected by action of traveling light move. The light emitted by the transmitter focuses on object which reflects to be the received by receiver photo diode. So in case of light sensors, what will have? LED will be there and there will be photodiodes. The light from emitting diode is focused on, by the transmitter lens on the object surface. And the reflected waves travel back and received by the solid state photodiode through receiver lens. The object within the range of sensor can detect the presence. If the object is there in the range of that particular sensor, then its presence can be detected. The focal length of sensor change lenses decide the range within which proximity of object is detected. If you have this type of sensor and the focal length of this sensor is there, and if object come in the focal length of that particular sensor, then it gets detected because it is going to reflect the light and the photodiodes will get activated here. One is light emitting diode and one is photodiode. So this will emit the light and this will catch the light. So the receiver lens will catch the light and you will get the output here that the particular object is within your range. This type of sensors are being used in new cars to prevent accidents. You might be knowing these things. That is, proximity sensors are there. Even in new four-wheelers, you might be seeing that there is one reverse sensor is there. So in case of you are driving your car in reverse direction, and if there is any wall or obstacle is there, then it gets detected and it give you the indication that it may be collide with you, so you have to stop your car. So this is called as you can say proximity sensor in this optical proximity sensor. Now capacitors. In case of capacitive proximity sensors, capacitance is used as a signal. The capacitive sensors are used for non-contact detection of metallic object. In case of light also, it is non-contact type, but capacitive, again, non-metallic objects can be, you can say, detected in this case. Capacitive proximity sensor use a variation of capacitance between sensor and the object being detected. Variation of capacitance. This is very important part. When the object is at a present distance from sensitive side of the sensor, an electronic circuit inside the sensor begins to oscillate. The rise or fall of such oscillations is identified by threshold circuit that drives an amplifier for operation of the external load. I'll just give some applications, then you will get to understand these things. Maybe in case of laptop trackpad, digital audio players, computer displays. Nowadays, laptops and computers are with touch screen displays are there. Mobile phones are already all these Android phones are touch screen. So there is capacitive sensor in that particular thing. Mobile devices and others. So these are the application of capacitive sensors. Everywhere we are going to use capacitive sensors for better you can say sensing of that particular object. Inductive. Again, inductive sensor is an electronic proximity sensor which detects a metallic objects without touching them. Electric current generates a magnetic field. You might have heard that induction coil is there. That induction coil, without touching that metal object, heats the water inside or heats the liquid inside that particular object or metallic body. So that is inductive current generation. Inductive current generation will help you in, you can say, sensing that particular object with the help of inductive proximity sensor. So electrical current generates a magnetic field which collapses, generating a current that falls asymptomatically towards zero from its initial level. So first thing, that is electrical current generates a magnetic field. And due to that magnetic field, if there is any metallic object inside that magnetic field, then that current falls towards zero from its initial level. So initially, if there is any electric current is there, and due to that particular metal object come into proximity of that induction, then due to which the current falls to zero, and we can easily detect that electricity fall. So construction is, I'll just show. The proximity inductive sensor basically consists of a wound coil located in the front of permanent magnet. Is a permanent magnet is encased in a housing. The change in current in the coil is output through the leads embedded in the resin. I'll just show. This is inductive field. This is a target, that is your metal, and when that metal comes in the vicinity of inductive sensor, that electric current falls, and it can be calculated with the help of this output switch or trigger. So you can calculate this particular inductive proximity sense inductive current with the help of that particular output voltage. The leads connected to the display through a connector gives signal for the presence of an object in the vicinity. So it gives signal for the presence of that object in the vicinity of your inductive field. Some applications are metal detector. Just now we have discussed how metal detectors are there. Used car washes in case of atomization and automatic car wash system. We have to detect the vicinity of that metallic object, and we can clean that particular object with the help of that car wash automatic system. And all the automated industrial processes are using either inductive, capacitive, or optical proximity sensors in one or other ways. So that we have to remember. Now, velocity sensing is there also important. In case of motion sensing is also important. So in that cases, what we are going to use? Some encoders we are going to use, some tacho generators we are going to use. We know the tachometer. We have used a tachometer in second year, that is in theory of machine. But tacho generators also there are. We can use tacho generator. Maybe you might be you have used that tachometer, which was a contact kind of tachometer, but there is a contactless tachometer is also there. That contactless tachometer, only with the help of a red tape or red pointer, can calculate the velocity or we can say RPM of that particular shaft. So tacho generator and pyroelectric sensors. What we mean by pyroelectric sensors? The pyroelectric sensors means with the help of only you can say if there is any heating furnace, and with the help of that particular flame radiation, you can calculate the temperature of that particular flame, because we cannot we can say we cannot use direct thermometer in that particular case, because the temperatures are high up to 1000 degrees Celsius or more than that. So in that case, with the help of the flame radiance, you can calculate the temperature of with pyroelectric sensors also. Some sensors are, we are going to see some sensor. 1 minute. I'll just show what we have studied till the time. So those who have joined late will get to know. So in this lecture, we have seen this mechanical sensors, or how the transducers are used in mechatronic system. So we can detect mechanical motion, we can give it in physical principle, we can change it in physical principle, and we can get output as a useful signal, just like voltage, current, or inductance, because they are easy to process. Then we have seen the classification based on methods, based on measuring mechanism, how they are using active or passively, analog or digital, inverse transducer, primary or secondary transducer. These are some classification. Then displacement measurement, we can use this for displacement measurement, resistive, inductive, capacitive, and piezoelectric kind of things. Secondary transducer, Wheatstone, and amplifier we are going to see in the next lecture. Displacement sensor. The most basic sensor that is called as potentiometer. We have seen its construction, and rotary potentiometer, its construction working. Then LVDT we have seen, in which there is a variable or differential transformer is there. So voltage S1 and voltage S2 difference we are going to calculate. This is the formula for calculating LVDT output. This is the construction and working of LVDT. These are typical characteristics of LVDT. A rotary variable transducer, it is only the conversion of LVDT in RVDT, that is in rotary core we are going to convert it. Then we have seen some optical encoders. Optical encoders, with the help of the disc slits and photo sensor and photo detectors, we get the digital output of this rotary motion. Then proximity sensors, we have seen 3 types of proximity sensors. One is optical, other one is capacitive, and the third one, that is inductive proximity sensor. We are going to see this motion sensors and velocity sensors in next lecture. Till the time, if there is any question, please ask, unmute yourself and ask me. Okay, if there is no question, then I'll stop the meeting. This is Sachin Tolkar signing out till we meet again in next lecture.